Hey guys, what's up? It's Alex or Nuznuz here, and today's video is going to be a high-level money-making guide, and this guide will be targeted towards players that have higher-level stats, like level 80 and 90 and so on, and I will be giving you guys 3 different money-making methods in this video, as is for all my money-making guides. I really like to give you guys a lot of variety so you can try different things and be more motivated to make GP. So make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe for more money making guides, as I have a ton on my channel currently, and let's get right into the first method. Alright, so the first method we're going to be talking about is grinding mud runes into ground mud runes while using the telekinetic grind spell. Now, I covered this method a while back in a previous video when these spells were just released, but it seems like based on the grand exchange prices, this method is getting pretty good again. Now, keep in mind, you must check the grand exchange prices before you do this method, as I'm sure prices will fluctuate and you want to make sure you'll be making a decent profit before you do this method, so make sure to look at the prices. But now let's look at the requirements for this method. Alright, so the requirements for this method are level 85 magic, so you can use the telekinetic grind spell. You will also need Lunar diplomacy complete and have the Lunar spellbook unlocked. Other than that, all you'll need for this method is some cash, around 25 mil to 100 mil, and I'd recommend that you buy your mud runes in advance if you want to do this method for a prolonged period of time, as mud runes have a limit of 25k that can be purchased every 4 hours, and you'll go through a lot of mud runes doing this method, so you'll need to buy in advance. I would say a good amount to have is 100 to 200k mud runes. So now we're going to move on to the inventory and gear setup. So for the inventory setup, it's really simple. All you need is mud runes, law runes, and astral runes. Now for telekinetic grind, you will need 2 astral runes and 1 law rune per 60 mud runes that you want to grind. So for instance, for 25k mud runes, you'll need around 835 astrals and 416 law runes. So as stated, for this method itself, you'll basically want to put the telekinetic grind spell on your action bar with an easy to press button like the 1 key. Then you'll want to hold down your key and spam click your mud runes. It'll take a little bit to get used to, but once you get into a flow, you will grind the mud runes super fast. This method is honestly really chill, and it's not very hard to do at all. Like I said, you just click there and spam 1 button. I would say the hardest thing about this method is just getting the mud runes itself. You could buy them in bulk, you could have friends buy them for you, or you could, let's say, go put an offer for like 500k to 1 million mud runes, leave it in for like 3-4 days, or however long it takes. Maybe that would take you like, 4 or 5 days a week. Leave it in and then do this method for 2, 3, 4 hours and make a ton of money. So if we look, I ended up selling the mud runes and it only took me about 20 minutes to sell them. So I sold them for the sell price, so I did not insta sell them so I could make more money. So I sold them for 988 GP each, 24.7 mil for 25k. And basically I paid 23 mil for the mud runes and the runes, so I made 1.7 million GP for the 25k mud runes, and it only took me about 5 minutes to do all these, so that's 1.7 mil in 5 minutes, which means you're looking at about over 20 mil an hour doing this. Now, like I said, prices change, and you also need to be able to buy the mud runes. So it'll take you a while to buy them, and it probably will take you a bit to sell them, just seeing as, they're ground mud runes. They're probably not bought a ton, but like I said, if you, slow play it and buy them slowly and sell them slowly, this is a good way to make some fast cash. Alright, so moving on, we're going to be looking at the next method, which is basically using muddy keys at the lava maze on the muddy chest. Now for this method, the requirements are going to be level 96 summoning, so you can use a pack yak and you'll need some GP to buy the keys and a little bit of time to wait for them to buy. That's basically it. But 96 summoning is very important to get the most GP per hour. And just like the mud rune method, you can only buy 100 keys per 4 hours, so you'll either need to get a friend to buy you some or leave an offer in the GE for a few days, and then you can do a bunch of this method at once and make some good money. Now, as for the inventory setup for this method, you'll want to wear a Ring of Wealth, and I had a Wilderness Sword so I could teleport close to the lava maze for the first time, but you can easily walk there as you'll only be going there once. Then you'll want to fill your inventory and make a preset with muddy keys filling your inventory and also your pack yak to be filled with muddy keys as well. Now, just a note, this is in the wilderness, so do this at your own risk. However, I don't think many PKers hang out at the lava maze, and I haven't ever been PK'd while doing this. You'll want to also possibly fill up your prayer points or wear some cheap D-hide armor, because there are 2 lesser demons that can get a bit annoying at the muddy chest, but what I ended up doing was just eating a food or 2 when I banked. So what you'll want to do for this method is run to the lava maze in the wilderness, and then you'll want to cut the first web and run through the lava maze. You'll then want to cut the second web that you get to, and then you'll basically be at the muddy chest and be able to loot it. Now, the muddy chest can give you a ton of different loot, including coins, bloodweed seeds, dragon longswords, battle staffs, and rarely an ancient warrior's equipment patch. Now, I actually really enjoyed this method and ended up doing it pretty fast. So after you loot all your chests for 1 inventory, you'll then want to run back through the lava maze and bank with the banker, who is usually found west of the lava maze. You'll then want to take out more keys, fill your yak up with keys, and repeat. So in total, it took me around 15 minutes to loot 200 muddy keys. I did get really lucky and I ended up getting an Ancient Warrior's equipment patch, which I believe is pretty rare. You should get one per 2k keys total, so we got it really early. So I'm going to show the loot with that, but I won't be counting it into the GP per hour calculation. So now we're going to take a look at our loot. So looking at our loot, we got around 3.8 million GP in 200 keys. This took us 15 minutes. So we spent 1.85 mil on the keys. So in total, we made 2 million GP profit in 15 minutes, or around 8 mil GP per hour. However, we did get an Ancient Warrior's equipment patch, which turns our profit more into like 11 million GP in 15 minutes. However, we did get really lucky, and on average, you should get an equipment patch every 2.5 hours or so of looting these keys, which should add 3 million GP to your profit per hour in the long run. So a good GP per hour rate to expect over the long haul for this method is about 12 million GP per hour, which I think is honestly really good for how chill this method is. Of course, it's a little risky, but the most GP you're going to lose if you die is around 500k in keys, which means we'd have to die like 20 times in the hour to lose our money. So in all honesty, you should be pretty safe. The only downside, of course, is the 100 key buy limit per 4 hours. This would be a great item to buy for like a week or so and then make a ton of money doing this method, or if you have multiple accounts or friends that can buy you some keys, that would work too. But all in all, I really enjoyed this one, and I enjoyed the chance at getting a big item like the Ancient Warrior equipment patch. So I'd recommend this method to anyone who has a bit of extra cash laying around and doesn't mind waiting the time to buy these on the GE. Alright, so the final method is going to be casting Ophidian Incubation and turning normal eggs into cockatrice eggs. Now for this method, you're going to need level 63 summoning, so a bit lower level requirements for this method, but you will need around 10 million GP. As for your inventory and gear, you'll want to have a Spirit Cobra pouch and then Spirit Cobra scrolls in your familiar. You'll want an inventory full of eggs with 1 or 2 spiritual prayer potions, which you will need to buy as well. So to do this method, what you'll want to do is set your familiar action to a special move. And you'll want to put the special move on your action bar somewhere that you can easily hold down, like the 1 key key. Then you'll want to hold down that button and click on the eggs in your inventory. It may take a bit to get used to, but eventually you'll get into a nice rhythm. You'll also want to keep track and look at your familiar special move points, and make sure that you drink a dose of your spiritual prayer potion whenever your familiar special attack bar moves below 30. You'll then bank and just repeat this, turning your normal eggs into the cockatrice eggs. It's kind of click intensive, but being able to just hold down a key and click makes it a bit nicer. Now in total I made 300 eggs to test, and it only took 7 minutes, which comes out to around 24 to 2500 eggs per hour. And looking at the profit, looking at what we spent a little over 1 mil, mostly on the eggs, spiritual prayer pots, and stuff like that. And we made about 1.8 mil in the cockatrice eggs, which means we made 700k profit in 7 minutes, which is around 5 to 6 million GP per hour. And this method doesn't have as high of requirements as the others in this video, but it's still a very good method and one that I recommend checking out. And the nice thing is the GE limits are pretty high for these items, so you can buy a ton of supplies at once and just do this as much as you want. So I hope this video helped you guys out, and like I said before, make sure you check the GE prices yourself before doing any of these methods. I tried to stay away from combat methods because a lot of them have already been covered before, and I want to give you guys a variety and something new to do. So make sure you like the video and subscribe for more guides like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.